Avowed subreddit. Avowed subreddit labeled us as racist subreddit boys. We a racist subreddit? Actually, you know what? If we're a racist subreddit, wouldn't they like us? Because the people that work on the game are racist too. Apparently, they made a made a wheel of racism.
All of these game devs are losing their minds lately, and it's pretty hilarious. Dead by Daylight developer allegedly forcing employees to undergo Wheel of Privilege DI training. Wheel of Privilege? I mean, seriously? That's gotta be one of the lamest things I've ever heard. God of War director David Jaffe blames YouTube grifters for killing Dragon Age the Veilguard and compares transgenderism to being black. Imagine being lectured about all that stuff from this dude.
Transgenderism to being black. I guess that could... I guess that could make sense. I don't know. I feel like that's not... No, it doesn't make sense because, like... No, it's not. Yeah, no, there's no way. Because, like, even if you're a transgender, you can act that gender and then fit in 100% with society, but you couldn't do that if you're black because, like, you have to change your skin color. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. No,
these are all by Fandom Pulse, by the way. They also wrote this. Avowed art director wants supporters of Donald Trump to, quote-unquote, feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives.
Bro, this guy was born too early to be a, fuck, what was his name? The guy's name in Space Marine 2. Not the Inquisitor, the Chaplain. Bro, this guy was born too early to become a chaplain in the Warhammer 40k universe. Yeah, I mean, Leandros, exactly, yes. He's the guy.
There's so much that confuses me with these people. Why are they always so mad?
Damn.
Why do they always have like no accountability? And also, why do they always sound so lame? Like, who talks like that? Oh, they're putrid lives. Oh,
well, they're talking like they're anime villains.
The Wheel of Privilege. And then the kicker is that these dudes are like in their 40s or 50s or something like that. And you would think that they would be more mature, but somehow they're not. Let's start with this Wheel of Privilege one. Look at this.
Teaching that fat people and black people are oppressed. Oh my God, look at all of this. Sexuality, ability, formal education, skin color, citizenship. This is sad, man. It's really... My physics professor taught us this. Your what, professor? Physics? Isn't he supposed to teach you about real wheels, not fake ones?
This
doesn't sound like physics.
Dude. Unbelievable. Let's scroll up a bit. At Behavior, a large video game company in Montreal, Canada. Oh, yeah, headquarters of Sweet Baby Inc. and many other consultancy firms like them. Okay.
As I said, boys, we really got it wrong. Trump got it wrong. We got to build the wall in Canada. The Mexicans, they can come over. They're fine. It's the fucking Canadians are really messing shit up.
A lot of weird stuff going on in Montreal, man. If you live there, you got my best wishes. And that's coming from someone who lives in California, so like I feel your pain. But yeah, continuing. Made employees undergo DI training, which includes a Wheel of Privilege, teaching that black people and fat people are oppressed. Okay, so in the center we've got
fat people and black people. Are they ability, able-bodied? Where's fat? I don't see fat. Oh, down there.
In the outside we've got marginalized. Let's see some examples of this. So if you were a cisgender man, privileged, cisgender woman...
I love how being a gay man is like somehow like, yeah, you're a gay man, but you're not really marginalized. Like also, what's the logic with being bisexual? Because if you were bisexual as a guy, wouldn't that make it to where like you could live a life that would be completely congruent with society? So wouldn't bisexual be inside of here and not gay man? Because like if you want to apply this logic to it, Destiny, well, I had to talk about the Destiny thing, okay? I say real quick, I don't like covering revenge porn, getting into that. I think that's weird. If Destiny wants to suck a dude's dick, that sounds great to me. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. I literally do not care. Sorry. But anyway, let him. Yeah, it's weird. He gonna do it. People can be weird. Anyway, so pansexual, asexual. See, this is weird. And you can see how like, guess who made this? Probably a girl that had problems with her father. Who the fuck puts bisexual as more marginalized than a gay man? I know. Someone who has problems with men. That's who does it, because there's no logic to this at all. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Privileged, trans, intersex, non-binary, marginalized. No way. If you're slim,
average, what is this, McDonald's? No, it's the people that go there.
Have power. If you're average sized, you're like in the middle. And if you're large, you're marginalized.
Well, what about if you're what about if you're like that guy? Like, I feel like this guy probably, I mean, bro. Oh. Yeah. The oxygen guy? Yeah. He's skinny fat? Y'all. Guys, he's not skinny fat. He just fat. That's not skinny fat. He'll be skinny fat in 20 years. That guy's the whole wheel, yeah.
Yeah, large people notoriously don't have any power in the world, right? There's no, like, large people who
There's
are powerful.
no fat people that can have any power.
Full people as well, yeah, right? These people are nuts, dude. Whoever made this is a complete nut.
And these are the same people that are talking about how Donald Trump is awful and fat.
Yeah. They say adapted from James R. Vanderwoord, Web of Oppression, and Sylvia Duckworth, Wheel of Power / Privilege. You know what? You got to be extremely privileged to have the time to make some slop like this. We could easily spend the entire video just laughing at that thing, but
I just think it's funny because, like, this is the god for people like this. This is the way that their entire worldview is built around. All they do, all they think about. You're right, it was a woman. Oh, yeah. No, that's actually a good... Yeah, I was. I forgot, yeah. I didn't even think of that. No, yeah, you're right, I was.
To make some slop like this. We could easily spend the entire video just laughing at that thing, but there's a lot of stuff I want to cover in this one. Keep in mind, though, that that's apparently being used by the developers of Dead by Daylight, that being Behavior Interactive. Once again, in their apparent diversity, equity, and inclusion, that being DI training, which you can see here in the top left of the image. And so Fandom Pulse continues talking about that Duckworth person who was credited, saying, in a post to Instagram in August 2020, Duckworth explained the wheel. Oh, great. Here we go. Wheels like this help us visualize what the term marginalization means. The further you are from power, the more marginalized and powerless you are. Why would anyone want to listen to this person? Why would you want some, like...
What a surprise that it's another upper middle class liberal white woman who's creating a power ranking tier list for all of the other groups of people in the world. I can say it. I'm white. Guys, I want to say, all you guys of Hispanic, Latino, Black, Asian, I'm sorry. I don't know why we keep doing this. I don't know why. I don't know where these people are coming from. I don't like them just as much as I don't know where the fuck. Yeah, it's a formal apology from the white community, yeah.
And powerless you are. Why would anyone want to listen to this person? Why would you want some, like, random weirdo to tell you, oh, you're so powerless, you're so marginalized, you need our help? And so apparently Sylvia, according to what seems to be her website, is an award-winning teacher from Toronto, Canada, with more than 30 years teaching experience in the classroom. On her Instagram, it looks like she's made a number of what seems to be children's books. She's got smash hits like...
Trans people exist in the future? So you're saying they're not real now? I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of...
Trans people exist in the future. What does LGBTQIA+ stand for? And talking about racism. Then she's also...
Why is it that lesbian and gay are two separate categories? So, like, can women be gay? Or can they only be lesbians? I feel like the only reason I could see it logically making sense is for searching for porn. That's the only time I could think, like, okay, this is why it would make sense that there's two different ones. Because, like, you don't want to accidentally look for the wrong thing. Because other than that, I mean, I really couldn't... I feel like it's the same thing.
LGBTQIA plus stand for, and talking about racism. Then she's also got posts like this.
Number of mass shootings in the U.S. between 1982 and February 2020 by a shooter's race or ethnicity. Excuse me. Who should we be more afraid of? We should be afraid of white people. Okay.
Who should we be most afraid of? It looks like she wants people to be terrified of white people or something.
Right.
Well, you know what?
And she's white.
She's actually doing a pretty good job of making me terrified of her.
I would be terrified. Like, yeah, absolutely. Ignorant about population percentages? I feel like, you know, the people that say that, you know what? I actually used that in a video before. I could explain it. It's aside the point. It's like 2 fucking steps removed.
Like, she seems like a terrible person to be around. Imagine you're like hanging out there and she's just like, oh, that's privileged. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's a microaggression. I could be nonstop with this person. But hey, I guess the Dead by Daylight devs would disagree. They must think this person's brilliant or something if they're using her teachings in their own TI training course. Now let's check out this.
The reason why they do this, so this is, you have to understand that there's an ecosystem of people like this that create their own existence. So the way it works is that you have people that are in human resources and people that are involved in PR and the other types of like systems that are inside of a company that don't really make the company any money, but they just prevent the company from getting sued. And these people have to create a need for themselves. So what they do is they find people like this woman that will identify problems that then HR is uniquely qualified to solve. So they're necessitating their own existence by pushing this stuff. It's not really because they believe in it. It's not because they care about it. It's that the existence of these problems necessitates their own existence, which guarantees their job security. You see how this works? Yeah, the mafia. Well, they're basically they're creating their own they're creating their own relevance. Like, here's a good example, right? Is that like, how many times, like, back in the day, we don't have this as much now, but like you would have a website overhaul like every 6 months. Every 6 months, the website gets changed and it's worse than the way it was. Like, YouTube and Twitter used to be like this all the time, right? Oh my God, yes, we all know about this. Why is that? It's because there's a development and a graphic design team at that company that if you actually made the best version of that website, then you'd be out of a fucking job. So you never do that. You never make the best version. You always keep it fucked up. And so you'd be fired. Exactly, right? And so people have this all the time. Dead by Daylight started doing this in 2021 with pride flags as charms, things that you can equip, but no other flags like real country flags. I actually don't think that's that bad. I would only find that to be bad if you could fly actual countries' flags. Yeah, I did. Now, I think that, like, having that in a game is, like, I think it's kind of silly, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. That explains Blizzard. No, a pride flag would probably be the least gay thing in a Blizzard game nowadays.
Avowed art director wants supporters of Donald Trump to feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives, says this guy apparently. And Avowed is that game set to release in February 2025, action role-playing game by Obsidian Entertainment.
Yeah, we've seen
in a post
before.
to Blue Sky ahead of the elections in the U.S., Matt Hansen reacted to a post from Thane Greenwood, who wrote,
Jesus Christ.
I also firmly believe that we need to...
this guy needs to be a chaplain for the Space Marines. He has to be. Like, the sad thing is that he was born too early to be a chaplain for the Space Marines, and he was born too late to burn witches. So now he's just sitting here on Twitter getting mad. This guy could have had a very, very successful life in, like, the 1500s. Yeah, I mean, things would have been so good for him. And now he's just sitting here on Twitter gooning and hating. Yeah, exactly.
Crush these people's spirits into what? Into blood and earth. Not be nice to the immoral supporters of an aspirational gore-soaked director.
Yeah.
Wait, this person's the one who's talking about like crushing people into blood, and then they complain about.
I firmly believe that we need to crush these people's spirits into blood and earth and not be nice to amoral supporters of a generational gore-soaked dictator. They need to feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives, and that is me being nice. Yeah, bro, this guy is straight out of Warhammer. And you want to know what's even worse about this? Is that I bet the antagonists in Avowed will not have dialogue that's that interesting. That's what's going to be really fucking funny. Is that the game that he's going to have and it's going to come out, I bet like he is probably a more interesting antagonist than the antagonists in his games.
Or did I read that correctly? What a hypocrite. Hansen replied to this writing, "They need to feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives, TBH. Yep. And that is me being nice." It was also uncovered that he advocated for discrimination against white people in at least a couple of posts over the last half-decade. Back in 2020, he wrote, "Reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open, and you will always have my priority. We got too many trusty white dudes in this field. Please let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods." We got like a max level white savior right here. More recently, in March 2024, he responded to Elon Musk, who said, "It should not be acceptable for any company." Who the fuck
wants advice from this goober? It's just embarrassing, man. These people are so embarrassing. I'm not condoning these comments, but as a game studio, doesn't Obsidian have a good track record? I hope Avowed is good. I'm going to play it when it comes out. And, like, I don't care what this guy says. Like, I mean, he could be a psycho. I mean, he could be a Nazi or, you know, some, like, super communist guy. Like, if he makes a good game, I'm probably still going to play the game. Like, I'm not going to worry about, like, the personal politics of, like, some person who's making it. Like, people enjoy Lovecraft, and he was basically a fucking racist, right? I mean, Ford, I mean, Hugo Boss. I mean, there's so many examples. Like, I can ignore all that as long as it's not in the content. Super communist is called a tanky? Maybe, I'm just saying, right?
In the gaming industry to be racist and sexist against white guys. Hansen retorted, "Oh, Elon, you sweet summer child. This will only embolden me, you sad sack of shit." Why do you guys think there's so many of these out-of-touch people in the gaming industry? It's like non-stop lately. And that takes us back to...
It's because they, let me think, why is that? That's actually a really good question. Why does that happen? Why does it happen? It's the school. I think that a lot of guys do it as a form of, like, kind of, I think that they do it to attract women because they think that women like it. Because I know a lot of guys that act to be more progressive, and then whenever they're around guy friends, they're using the N-word and saying slurs constantly. So I think it could be an outward behavior in order to, like, kind of fit in with women and have women like them. That's totally different. It's not, though. I don't know. I'd really have to think about that more.
To another one, that being David Jaff. Once again, the headline, God of War director David Jaff blames YouTube.
Why is it always bald guys?
For killing Dragon Age the Veilguard. He compares transgenderism to being black. In a video uploaded to his YouTube channel, which appears to be a clip from a live stream, Jaff answered a viewer question about the gaming community ruining the game.
When you say that the gaming community ruined this game's success, I mean, you know, I don't think that's entirely fair, but I think there is a lot of truth to it. If you're EA, you've got to kind of prepare for the market wins that you're seeing.
The thing is, like, it's not crazy for him to have said that, right? It's really not. Obviously, feedback from the audience and the audience not liking something is going to affect it.
There's nothing wrong with him saying that. And so they should have been prepared to counter, and they weren't. Really, at this point, all that gaming community that you're talking about has done is they've made it so they've actually made games worse, which is what they say they're trying to not do, because they have the charismatic grifters, those that for whatever reason people respond to. People who haven't actually played this game will hate it just because they're sort of told to hate it.
That take is such cope. Oh my gosh. And I've also seen a lot of the Veilguard shills on Reddit, for example, basically using the same sort of rhetoric. It's like they're incapable of accepting the fact that a lot of people don't like this game for a variety of reasons, and it's not because some random person on YouTube said like, oh, you have to dislike this game, and they're like, okay. For example, the game was already getting a ton of criticism before it was even released because the trailers that they were releasing. So
why did he do that? Why did he run up there like that and shoot him with a shotgun? I don't know what the hell. This game looks like just dead. This is Stalker 2. This game's amazing. I love this game. I played it off stream. I didn't have a good time playing it on stream. Played it off stream is fucking great.
People, including a lot of Dragon Age fans, arguably even the majority of DA fans, saying they hated what happened to the Canary. Many also disliking the art style overall, the graphics. Then you fast forward, and it turns out that tons of people don't like the story. They don't like the way many of the characters were depicted. They don't like the lack of options and how you're forced to be this like virtuous, good hero.
The other thing is that, see, nobody ever criticizes the actual gameplay. The mechanics of Dragon Age combat are bad. The parry windows are inconsistent. They're directionally based, which isn't indicated anywhere. And a lot of the types of movement, and there's an inconsistent pattern for when your character gets knocked down and when the character doesn't get knocked down. So Angry Joe did it. I don't know if he did or not. That's part of the gameplay. Well, it's like people get so focused on like, oh wow, this character's gay. Who cares, right? Like that's one thing. But like if the game sucks to play, that's what's really going to matter in 10 years. Jumping is kind of ass too. Well, like the jumping, for example, I don't even really think it's ass. The jumping works kind of like it works kind of like Monster Hunter, where it's kind of a tangent, but like how in Monster Hunter, when you jump, it will make your character move up more so you can fully complete the animation. And in Dragon Age, when you attack while jumping, it gives you more control over your character's movement. And so like there's a lot of mechanics in the game that are inconsistent and I think not very good.
And while some people liked the combat, a lot of people also didn't like that either. And these, of course, are just a few examples. David Jaff could even go on Steam and take a look at the reviews here, where they're aggregated, taking a look at the negative reviews if he really thinks people just don't like it because of YouTube grifters. I mean, look at this, man. These people got pretty good amount of hours played, 94 hours, 25 hours, 62 hours. And there's like very nuanced takes here with tons of information on why these people disliked it. So yeah, let me know what you think about this David Jaff person, director of God of War and Twisted Metal, the Avowed situation with that art director Matt Hansen, and of course also at the beginning that situation with the Dead by Daylight devs using that whole Wheel of Privilege thing. I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed my coverage, and if you did, consider liking and or subscribing. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. All of these games.
This is, to me, that is the funniest fucking thing for me to see that. The Wheel of what?
All of these game devs.
It's basically, so this is something that a lot of people like subscribe to really hard. It's called like basically intersectionality. And it's a tier system. It's basically like a racial, gender. It's like every type of like aspect of life is created into a tier list. And then people are given advantages or disadvantages based off of that tier list. So, for example, like if like, you know, you're playing on hard mode, okay, well, being black, oh, wow, that's really hard. Well, being a different, what is this? You're different. I don't even know what this says. Let me see if I can get a better indicator of that. Different shades. Okay, so they don't want to say basically tan or whatever. We're back in 1938. Yeah, basically, right? I mean, sure. This is based off studies, though. It's not some random list. Well, I think it also depends on each person. And I think also it's very fair for you to say that there are people that have advantages in life. But whenever you create a tier list and then you make it a defined science rather than something that's individual, here's the problem with things like intersectionality. The reason why they're a problem is because they fundamentally dehumanize people. They take an individual that is comprised of tons of different individual characteristics, their own hopes, their own dreams, their perspectives, their intelligence, their view on the world, and everything like that. I'll link you guys the video, by the way. This is a very good video. And I was glad to see it. It's the opposite of creativity. Well, there's more than that, right? So, and this is what I find to be very interesting, is that when you take a person and then you distill their identity down to their gender or down to their skin color or down to their income or anything like this, what you're doing fundamentally is you're dehumanizing them, because you're taking a person that is a complete system with tons of identities and tons of different attributes, and you're distilling all of that down to a singular attribute, and then you're making decisions based off of that. And so that's why it's bad to make decisions based off of statistics, right? And it's almost like it's a cult. Yeah, exactly. You're basically making them an outlier. Is it pseudoscience like with astrology? No, astrology is totally fake. This isn't totally fake. It's kind of in the middle. It's prejudice. Yeah, exactly. It's not progressive at all. Well, it's extremely regressive. And this is why I've been against. It's actually one of the reasons why whenever I was talking about like the Israel-Palestine stuff and I got in trouble for it with Twitch, it's actually one of the reasons why I apologize for it. It's because I fell into the category of categorizing everybody that's part of a certain group as people that believe something. And I think it was a bad idea to do that. And so whenever you do that to a group of people, you do dehumanize them and you take away their own individual agency. And I think that's what happens all the time now. And it becomes totally normalized. And the dehumanization happens all the time. And I think it's like there's like acceptable targets and not. So yeah, they say never apologize. I'm not apologizing to people that were mad. I was apologizing to my community because I thought that I was creating bad content. Right? And I could have done a better job communicating and delivering better content. If somebody on Twitter gets their feelings hurt over something that I say, I don't care. They can cry a fucking river, build a bridge, and get over it. Who cares? But if I'm feeling like I'm not doing right by my community, then that matters a lot more to me. So yeah. And I don't think anyone uses the wheel to examine any specific individual. I think it's meant to be used as a generalized view into privilege and racial disparities. You think that this wheel isn't used on an individual basis? It's absolutely used on an individual basis. It's used like this constantly. Yeah, all the time it is. You did apologize during your ban now? You caved into the mob mind? No, that's fine. People want to think that. That's okay. I explained why I did. If you don't like that reasoning, then you're going to think whatever you want to think. Right? I mean, I don't want to argue with you about it. But anyway, I feel like I've explained it like 7 times. They create game characters based on it via the point system. Oh, that's what Overwatch did. Yeah, you're right about that. And you can see also, this is actually a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Overwatch, Blizzard, diversity wheel. Diversity chart. Look at this. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. How about that? It's the same thing. And they are applying it on an individual basis to create characters. There you go. So the creator of the wheel is an Overwatch gamer? Yeah, that must be it. Can you bring up the South Park game difficulty? Well, that... yeah, that is funny. Okay, let me see if I can look at some more of these too. And, let's see, where's the problem? Overwatch characters are great? Oh, I think so too. Anyway,